This is Captain Andrew from Sailor's Light, Back Bay Fishing of Wildwood, and this is one of our fish story segments, where I tell some of my more humorous or horrifying stories from my fishing and merchant marine background, from both here at home and internationally. All the vessel and people names have been changed for privacy, but I assure you every word coming out of my mouth is the truth as I saw it. This story comes from the South Jersey shore during February in roughly the year 2005. For those that may or may not know, I went to the State University of New York Maritime College in Throgs Neck, New York. I was pursuing my Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation and my U.S. Coast Guard third mate unlimited tonnage license. I didn't come from money and basically had decided to finance my full education on student loans. My family gave me money when they could, but for the most part it was on me. So I had grown up in the fishing industry, starting as a bait boy at age 11 and working my way up. And as it was, many weekends I would come down to the island and help friends on offshore sea bass trips. The money supplemented what my family could help me with. So it was February, and I would drive down Friday night, still in my regimental uniform, fish and work and drink all weekend, and then go back to campus slightly richer for muster on Sunday evening. So this particular weekend, we had tickets for a concert for a certain pianist at a local bar, and we had a 2 a.m. departure that morning for an 18-hour offshore deep-water sea bass trip. Now, we had a pretty elaborate plan. We, the mates, which included myself, my best friend, my now estranged brother Binky, and two people we will call the brothers, were going to hang out at the brothers' apartment and go to the bar early, because if you didn't, the 10 p.m. concert start time would you wouldn't get a table, or you wouldn't even get seating together. It was going to be a big deal in a relatively quiet fishing town during the middle of the winter. So at 3 p.m., which was 7 hours before showtime, we walked to the bar and claimed out a large table right in front of the stage. Now the bartender knew what we were doing, so immediately he demanded we start working on our 2-drink minimum. And we had to go fishing that night, so we couldn't exactly get intoxicated, nor were we going to drink straight for 7 hours. In hindsight, we were very wrong. 1 hour in, I leave the bar for the first step of the operation. I walk the several blocks to the brothers' apartment and stock my puffy winter coat with Yingling bottles and the first of many Snapple bottles of our own whiskey. The bar's own shot glasses that we had at our table would get refilled, and between my efforts and the occasional legit bar sale, we would keep ourselves having fun but not break the bank. So, upon my return, I am promptly informed that because of nasty offshore conditions, the trip was canceled. So think about that for a second. To summarize, a group of fishermen who were setting out not to drink a lot because of moral and legal obligation now had that legal and moral obligation removed. The 6 hours of, for lack of a better term, gluttony was pretty epic. The 8 to 9 p.m. hour is still a little bit of a lost time, hazy time for a lot of us, but I do remember the concert starting. The concert was excellent, and since we were front and center, we held the attention of the pianist for the majority of the night. Now, over the course of those 6 hours, my smuggling efforts repeated over and over again. So here we are at the end of the concert. The performer was signing autographs and selling overpriced merchandise. Now, being a poor college student, I wanted an autograph, but I couldn't afford the extra $25 for a CD, so I did the next best thing and removed a 3-foot by 8-foot vinyl banner hanging on the wall that was advertising the evening's concert, to which the pianist laughed, signed it, and just shook his head laughing as the barmaid noticed my deeds. She didn't seem to matter, but she did definitely give me quite a few dirty looks. Thinking about it, I still have that sign rolled up somewhere. So you have a group of fishermen who have been drinking all night with nothing else to do, and the bar closes. So we did what civilized men do, and we went to the next bar. And somehow along the line we lost the brothers, but our merry band had gained 2 men that we all knew from the industry, one of which we shall call Gentleman George. Now we closed the second bar. These thirsty fishermen decided that we were going to turn our attention to the booze stock that we had hidden at the brothers' apartment. Again, mind you, this is all in walking distance. When we opened the apartment door, the brothers' protests fell on deaf ears, as it was their fault for leaving the door unlocked. So all these fishermen pile into the small apartment and continue drinking. By chance, one of the brothers has had his girlfriend with him, and they decide they're going to just go to bed. We find this unacceptable, and we open the bedroom door. Now, I am the intellectual of the group and often the sole voice of reason, so I do the completely reasonable thing and climb into bed between the two of them. Now, like I said, being an intellectual, I also knew that I did not want to spill my beer, and I did the logical thing at 3 o'clock in the morning, slightly intoxicated before getting into bed with them, and I put the open beer bottle in my front pocket. Now, among the protests I hear when I climb into bed is the one brother's now ex-wife screaming at me, "Oh my God, are you peeing?" To my shock, no ma'am, I am losing vital beer. The very well protected beer in the front pocket of my shirt is now pouring out as I'm lying between the two of them. We leave the apartment shortly thereafter because after closing 2 bars and drinking the brother's apartment dry, including the good goose vodka hidden in the freezer, Gentleman George makes a mistake at around 3:30 a.m. that he still has stuff at his apartment on the other end of the island. So Bestie, Blinky, Gentleman George, and his friend and myself get ourselves down to that apartment, and we proceed to drink until we realize it's time to sleep. We notice it's time to sleep because, well, there's no more alcohol. No one's in a position to be able to drive, and no one's in a position to be able to get any more. So the next logical step is sleep. Now, at this point, we realize Binky, being a humanitarian, has stolen Gentleman George's bed. I immediately dive onto the couch. George's friend commits an act of divinity and miraculously disappears from the apartment. At this point, I am asleep and dead to the world. I wake up to sunlight. Now, through a miracle of biology, I don't get hangovers, much to the hatred of almost everybody I know. And annoyingly so, I am also a morning person, so it's 8 a.m. in the morning, with all of us having maybe had 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Everyone else is asleep, and it is very, very cold in the apartment. I put on my shoes and try my best to stifle my laughter when I discover that Bestie and Gentleman George are spooning the space heater. Now, I kick Bestie awake, and we hear Binky stirring. Now, me and Bestie go outside the apartment, and we are chatting for a little while before he leaves to make his way home. His truck is mercifully parked nearby. My vehicle, since I was in no shape to drive the night before, is about 30 blocks or a mile and a half away. So I turn and realize that while Bestie and I were chatting, Blinky has woken up, saw that only Gentleman George was left in the apartment, got up, got to his truck, which was my ride back to my own vehicle, and has now departed for home in Pennsylvania, leaving me locked out of the apartment with only my car keys, a dead cell phone, and a 30-block walk. After my walk, let's just say that the brothers were less enthused than usual to see me arrive at their apartment, but that may seem understandable considering the previous morning's escapades. Now, after my return to my family home in the county, a shower, some hot food, and a change of clothes, I then had to make my way back up north. Longest 3-hour drive of my life. Now, thanks for listening. That was a fun story to tell. I definitely had to edit it somewhat to keep it PG-13, but I hope you all enjoyed it. Share it if you care, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to help this channel grow. Have a great day, tight lines, and good fishing.